This is 1/3 audio series.
Nothing is more sacred than truth. Nothing is more sacred than truth. Nothing is more sacred than truth. Nothing is more sacred than truth.
Shalom means peace. Welcome back to 1/3 podcast with your hostess, Oharaba Aviezer. I would like to first start by giving the Almighty, Creator and Maker of heaven and earth, the honor, glory, and praise for allowing me to be alive this day and to even be able to present this to you, to bring season 2. I have a very special guest with you today, my brother Yaakov Ben Israel from Truth Interactions podcast. He'll be joining me today with today's topic. Yaakov?
I also like to give all honor and praises unto the Maker, the Creator of heaven and earth, that is the safeguarder and the safekeeper of all of our lives. And I'm just grateful to be featured on my sister podcast because most of you know her audience, that she has been doing her podcast for 2 months. And so it's just a grateful opportunity for me to be featured on her podcast before I even start my podcast. Why not?
Awesome. So, if you are not aware, on my social media platforms, I had briefly asked, what would you like to hear from me? And among those many answers I got, we'll be answering 2 of those today that kind of go hand in hand. And it speaks mainly on youth. So, the first one, we're just going to jump right into it. The first one is ways to effectively pave positive paths for our youth.
Ways to pave effective, positive path for our youth.
Yes.
So one thing we know when we hear the word path, it's a direction.
Okay.
So a lot of us need guidance, simple guidance, and I feel certainly that one of the keys that we are missing is guidance as youth. And so sometimes we don't realize that the guidance is right before us in our very homes. The guidance is right before us at our very schools that we go to. The guidance is right before us, before our older siblings, our older cousins. If we would listen, Abba told me, our father, he told me that the problem with youth is that we spend our time thinking that everyone does not believe in us. And that hinders us from even understanding our path or even being able to achieve our path. So when we think that everyone disbelieves in us, we create this oral
this whole mindset
of negativity that we're not even allowing others to give us advice.
Or even to grow.
To help you get to that full potential of self so that you could really achieve your goals. So we need guidance. That's the first thing I would say, to open up. And guidance comes from the Creator. It comes from your elders, which is wisdom.
I agree with that, definitely. I think as youth, as Yaakov said, the first thing is fixing ourselves spiritually. And when we realize that there has been a path already laid before us, that we, majority of us, not all, but oftentimes enough as youth we kind of reject. But our elders are our cheat sheet. They're our guide.
Truly.
They're going to provide, they have the wisdom to provide for us at least what it's going to take to have a good life, to have a sufficient life. So as you were speaking about that guidance, when we realize how important our elders are, to listen to them. I remember one elder had once said, and I have it quoted, when the youth listen, when we begin to listen, it's over. It's over. So I think it's just more about us listening and taking heed to the wisdom that is kind of thrown at us daily. Right.
So true, because we read all throughout Proverbs and the scriptures that the Creator said, seek knowledge, seek wisdom, and above all, gain understanding. So I think a lot of times that when we disregard wisdom and correction, to say more, to be more focal on that point, correction is needed for you. because a lot of us are doing so many things. We're venturing to things that we would have never thought we would venture into. Hanging with crowds that we had never thought we would be hanging with. People that surround themselves with full of negativity, and it's not part of your character. So that wisdom and that understanding of that wisdom is the guidance of what we need.
Yes.
Like you were saying, it comes from the elders. It comes from those from whom are before you.
That's so
that
true.
simple thing. If we could just get that, oh man, we would have the bright future we could see. And I think another thing is we need real models. No more role models. You know, not to say every role model is not or doesn't have a positive impact, but oftentimes enough we find ourselves being influenced negatively by role models who really influence us with things that profit us nothing. And so when we realize, even being youth, knowing that they're always going to be youth under you, they're going to look up to us, and they are looking up to us. Absolutely. And when we're mindful that everything we do, they're going to follow, we would be more careful in what we do, being real models and not role models. I really like that point, being a real model. Because a real model is going to teach you how to be a real model. A real dignified person. Exactly. A dignified human being. Because like you made the point, we have role models that's not teaching us things. They're entertaining us with foolishness. You look at the music. Yes, unfortunately. It's so sad. Potently, people love these things. And you think about it, a lot of the celebrities today, a lot of the rappers today, a lot of the entertainers and movie stars and athletes, a lot of people admire these people and look up to these people as role models. But they're not real models. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing, but you need a model that can bring value to your life, that can actually teach you something, that can actually give you a better mindset and understanding of life. And that's what we need.
So true. That is so true. And also, like, effective ways, because we are, just to make sure we touch on that, I think one important thing is making sure that anyone who can even have a year ahead of you, they're a year older than you, they got so much to teach you.
Absolutely.
And so with that understanding, there are sometimes we may make mistakes, but coming from a household, my father always taught us that experience is not always about having to walk in those same footsteps that we've seen the same outcome from, but it's about observing and learning. And so even I myself have made mistakes, but when we learn not to use those same mistakes and burden them on the next generation is important. Certain things can make you bitter in life, and that's just a reality. But we have to be careful not to negatively influence the younger youth on something that made us bitter that could possibly help them grow. Not saying to never be there to correct them and make sure you're letting them know, hey, don't do these things that I did. I think that's also important, but whatever negatively happened to you in life, we have to be careful not to project that on the younger generations, because there are certain things that were actually meant for the good for us, but we may have taken it the wrong way. And if we're not too careful to let the younger generations know exactly, just giving them an adequate amount of knowledge and not misinforming them, that's also important, so that we don't lead the younger generations astray, and even ourselves.
Right. So far we have touched on 3 things that we could do to effectively, positively give our people a path, our youth a path. And those 3 things we have mentioned is guidance. The second one is being a real model. We need real models. And the third one is positive influence. So those 3 things, we need guidance, we need a real model, and we need positive influence. With those 3 things put together,
we can do it.
We can move mountains as youth, because the youth are the future. And it's so much focus on the youth, and we don't want to say that, hey, we will be running this thing in 10 years. No. We're simply saying that we must prepare ourselves to be in a position where we can sustain the next generation under us, and we could properly influence them that's under us and be real models to them, because each generation, 10-year gap, you're going to look up to those who are older than you.
Absolutely.
In each generation, and we have to be that positive impact for our people and for our youth.
So true.
Especially going into the stage of adolescence.
Yes. And you spoke about, not saying we're going to be running this thing in 10 years. It's like, to me, understanding that, I oftentimes find myself, with the term youth are the future. We are, but we can't just snatch the baton from our elders. And that goes back to our first one. Our elders.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes. Our elders are really they're our wisdom. And if we have to learn that order once again, that's so important. To learn that order that our elders, an elder could be anyone that has, a year on you.
Exactly.
An elder. So when we learn that respect,
50 years of age,
I'm telling you, imagine someone who has 40 years ahead of you. What can we really tell them? So listening as youth, taking that wisdom from be it your guardian, your parent, your grandparents, and understanding that we also have to be patient, because they're those older than us also striving. They're on a much greater path, or more, at least they've walked it longer than us, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Marcus Garvey said that a people without order will never succeed. You will only reap chaos. And so order is the epitome of discipline. Because when you think about discipline comes from principles that were set. And disciplinaries is only executed and effected properly when you go against that principle that was set. And I think a lot of times we have principles that was already set. Most of us was told to dress modest from our grandparents, not from our parents. A lot of our grandparents influenced us, and that's a key point to understand that your elders can guide you. A lot of us, we want to show what we got. We want to dress a certain type of way, but we get simple guidance on how to dress. And why I want to bring this point up is because we're dealing with a lot of just upheavals in the world today, if that's the correct word. Confusion. Yeah, it's corruption and confusion, especially with the dress code, because everywhere I look on social media, now I'm a man, I love sisters, women are beautiful, but I do not want to see nudity on my timeline. I do not want to see a woman flashing on my timeline everywhere I scroll. And we disregard that simple guidance, that simple wisdom, because you get mad when a fellow brother or a woman holler at you for you dressing a certain type of way. Men too. Dang, I'm trying not to show this, I'm insecure about that, but you should dress as you want to be addressed. That simple saying. And I'm getting to guidance. We cause our own problems. A question was posed to me one time: do you think that the youth create the problems, or all the problems already set?
That's a good question.
Do we think that the youth create the problems, or the problems already set before us? We create the problems. The problems are not set. The laws are already set. Relative laws. These are the consequences for going against this, which would cause a problem.
Right, which many would call karma. But relative law.
Relative law. The law of relativity. Whatever you reap, you sow. So if you put in slacking, you're going to reap failure. If you put in grinding, you can reap nothing but success. Nothing but success. So I think that's my focus, really gaining guidance and wisdom. That's a key epitome of our relationship ecologically as a nation for you. Guidance.
You guys start listening more as youth listening. I think those are some great points we touched on. We could probably move on to the next question.
Awesome.
All right. So this second one kind of goes hand in hand. Just decided to mash it up with this video. You want to read it, Echo?
No problem. What impact does the rise of our youth bring, referring to our change as a people? I'll let you speak that since I, read it. I mean, hitting some points. We both been hitting some points, so I'll let you go ahead and bring that one. Bring the fire for that one. They need to hear this one.
Well, as I said earlier, just hearing, I still have that quote written. The moment that you start to listen, and an elder said this, the moment that you start to listen, it's over. We got a team. That's how impactful it's going to be. Just working hand in hand with those older than us and those younger than us. And it's going to create a powerhouse, and that's what we need as a people. We've seen ourselves down as a nation. I mean, I speak to all humanity, but particularly my people as well, because we've been so ignorant of who we are for so long, and we find ourselves in a predicament that's it's put a lot on us to get out of as a people. And so if we really see how important youth are, then we should take the role important, be humble about it, and do all the things that are necessary to help us build up as a people.
Right.
That's how impactful we're going to be. We see now we're in a pandemic. That means that something caused this, our behavior.
Absolutely.
And so if we change that, we could possibly see paradise and not a pandemic. Paradise and not a pandemic. So it's that impactful.
Wow. Wow, we could really change the world.
We could.
We could change the world just by redirecting our thinking, redirecting our purpose. Wow.
It's
wow.
Spiritual. It starts
within. So I have a question. What are the things we need to start doing now to positively impact each other?
That's to me, that question?
Yeah, I will ask you that question.
Oh, and we would like to hear from others too. Yeah.
Yes,
we would love that feedback.
Not just you. We would like to hear that answer from y'all. When we post this video, drop it down in the comments.
Absolutely.
What are the things that we can do to positively change each other, impact each other? Because impact is so key. I'm with Abstrobs. I'm in a financial institute with Abstrobs. And I'm learning a lot about business. I'm learning a lot about, just constructing your mindset, because oftentimes when we try to pursue our interests, we have the wrong mindset in pursuing our interests. So, and that interest has to be impacted from the right thought. And the right thought is what's going to allow you to be successful.
Yes.
So we need to positively impact our people on their mindsets. And we have to start with the heart first. I hear a lot of things about mindset. Mindset is key. But without the heart, because the heart is what pumps all the blood to all the body.
Exactly.
Without any blood getting to the brain, you can die. So therefore, the heart is the key component, because you ever had an urge like, man, something just speaking in your mind, this gonna happen today. This gonna happen today. Then your heart start racing, start pumping.
Right.
You're like, dang, this really gonna happen. Boom, it happened. 5 minutes later. This is the natural instinct. It sends that impulse, that correct thought, to manifest that thought. So it's all about what's in the heart. If the heart isn't genuine, then the brain is flawed.
Yes.
The thinking is flawed. The action is fallible. You bound to make a mistake.
That is so key. That is so key. And also realizing that you can grab someone by the hand. If you see somebody younger than you and you can see yourself in them, grab them by the hand and influence them positively. Right. Now, if you're not going to influence them in a positive way, leave them alone. If we're not going to have anything good or positive to bring to the table, it's best we step away and work internally until we can bring that positive influence to the table. So if you see a young daughter, as me, if I see a young daughter or a male, you see a young son, grab them by the hand and, influence them positively. I think that's also very important, so that, we just create those real models, as we spoke about earlier. That's how we can definitely impact each other. And then uniting, as peers. Let's come together, break the ice, It's a lot of ice to break. For some reason, we're in a social media world on the phone, but it's so hard to gravitate and connect physically.
That's so true, and I think we're divided based upon how we view each other, because everyone is different. That's something I always say. I don't think we're divided as a people because of our differences. I think we're divided truly because of how we perceive others. You may hear someone speaking, and they're speaking confidently. You say they're arrogant. You know nothing about that person. It might be an individual that's passionate, very passionate, in the game of basketball, and they know every basketball player. But someone said, "You think you know it all? Like, why is he talking? Why is he so loud?" But he's very confident. He's speaking the knowledge that he's possessed. And so, if we could just respect others for what they do, for who they are, and for what they represent, that's dignified, it's moral, then we shouldn't have no problem of coming together. That's one of the positive impacts that we could have.
Yes.
Coming together, like you said, we gotta grab these youth by the arm, grab them by the hand, especially those that's younger than you. If you 15, grab a 10-year-old. Like, hey man, I was just 10. You riding the bike, trying to steal something? No, I just got out of jail at 16. It don't feel good. It don't feel good. You don't want to end up in this place. You 18, grab somebody that's 12.
Right.
You 21, 22 in our age bracket. Deal with all the age groups of you, those who under you.
Yes.
It's about youth development. That's what we're bringing to you all here. What speaks a lot on about the earth and things that happen in the earth and the inside, and giving an understanding of who the creator is, because Solomon said in Ecclesiastes 7:9 or 12:9, if I'm not mistaken, but it's in there, the last chapter of Ecclesiastes, I know that. Remember the days of the creator in thy youth, before the terrible days of evil come near. So it's not simply saying that when destruction comes near to you, it's before you get up in old age. And our teacher taught us that.
Right.
That's simply interpreted when you get up in old age, before you about to, it's your time, you want to make sure that you have the creator with you all along, even in your stages of adolescence. That's important. It's so important. We always disregard God. And I had to bring him to the table, because we can't continue to leave him on the back burner.
Bring it to the table.
We can't leave him on the back burner.
No.
We was mentioned today, with all those things combined, it's all about the Most High.
And that's true.
With all those things. That's true youth development. You're able to have a relationship with your God, because he guides all things, he provides all things, he created all things, he made all things. So why wouldn't you want his eternal guidance?
Yes, that's true. And then the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Most High. So if you really want to seek wisdom, and even for myself, we must yearn that connection back with the Supreme that lies within us, but yet he's also the Supreme that is controlling our very lives. So that's so important, and we should have spoken about that first, but save the best for the last. The Most High is, yes, that's the conclusion. Yes. So as you too, we gotta remember to build that relationship with the Most High, as Jacob brought up. That is so key, because when you're connected with the Almighty, he's going to guide you. You're not going to resist wisdom. It's going to come and flow to you like water. He's going to make sure you are walking in the right directions, and leave it to him to remind you that you're human. I don't always like to say, you're going to make mistakes. So that's a whole other topic, but leave it to him. He's always going to remind you that you're human. But
Right.
if you seek
Balance in
him,
spirit and flesh.
exactly.
That's another topic.
That's another topic. But if we seek him earnestly and diligently, and you're just yearning for him, you're going to find it. And that's something that's going to help build your character and allow you to be a positive influence to not only youth, but the whole world. The whole world.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. You have to find him earnestly. You got to find him again, like Solomon said, at youth. And a lot of us don't discover that we have I use the word prowess and powers with God. We don't realize until we hit 30, 40, 50. No, discover it early so that you could rise to your light and your full potential of self. And the greatest investment you can make in life is not in yourself. We hear a lot of entrepreneurs saying that today, which I agree with. It's one of the greatest investment, but the greatest investment one can ever make is with God, a relationship with God.
That is so true. We touched on those topics very briefly. We don't have all the answers, but as you all know, I always say, if this inspires you, which we hope it does, share it. Share it with someone you think it would inspire. And our motive is always to inspire you so that you can reach for your higher self, your greatest potential. And that's where you're going to find the Almighty, the Creator. So with that being said, I'm grateful that you even tuned in. If you haven't listened to Season 1, A New Voice, you can find that on Anchor.fm, and I'll leave all the descriptions wherever this may be posted on social media. You can find me on Instagram.
Yes. Powerful.
Yes. And actually the last episode that I left you all with was Dear Youth. So we'll be covering this topic briefly. If you have any other questions you would like me to answer, leave it on any of my posts. I will see it wherever you let me know. Just any questions, and I'll definitely get back to you and answer them in the upcoming episodes. With that being said, I think we're done for today. You can find Yaakov if you'd like to let them know where they can find you, Yaakov.
Yes, you can find me at YAAQUOV, Yaakov, on Instagram. If you want to connect with me on Facebook, you can find me at Yaakov Ben Israel Connects.
Check him out. Don't forget, follow Yaakov on Instagram and share this if it influences you or has any impact on your life. Again, thank you so much for tuning into 1/3. Peace to all, and remember to put the Most High first. Shalom.
Toda Rabaya Yahovah Ma'ani Kola Dehaki. Please give me the words to say. Toda